Just came up with a brand new book. It's called Fortunate Member of a Caribbean Diaspora. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
We're fine, and how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I am in St. Martin. I am on a working vacation, and I'm hanging out at Lazer 101.1 FM.
All right, best vacation ever.
You know it. Thank you.
What's going on, Philip?
All is going on. I am a new author of a great book called Fortunate Member of a Caribbean Diaspora, written by me. It has taken me 34 years to write. It started out as a promise to my grandmother when I was 12 years old. When my grandfather passed away, I happened to just go over to the house and we were talking about family and so forth. And so she says, listen, I want you to start to write these things down and keep a record of it. This way no one is forgotten. Mm-hmm. So I took her seriously and I did it. I ended up growing up with the project.
Oh, okay.
So through all the years of coming back and forth to St. Martin and interviewing people who walked, talked, drank, everything with those ancestors, I was able to put together all the records that I needed, as well as a great tangible records team, and also the help of the internet, where I was able to now say, okay, I have enough for a book. So I added the story to it, and the story itself is what it took to make this book, growing up through the years, and also what it's like to be a Caribbean American growing up in the United States itself. Now, some people ask me, what is a diaspora? I didn't know how to actually pronounce it myself. I was saying diaspora.
I say diaspora all the time. Yeah.
But I heard the grammatical way to do it is diaspora.
Diaspora, okay.
When you say it like that, it sounds like something that you take when you have a cold. Could you imagine? It's true. When I have a sore throat, I take a diaspora.
They call bleeding, ankle bleeding, coughing.
Could you imagine?
You know, so.
When you suffer from irregularities, diaspora is for you.
And a few months after you take it, you got another commercial. If you've taken diaspora, contact your lawyers right now because we got money for you. But let's talk a little bit about this book. How long did it take for you to get everything together and publish a book?
Okay, well, actually, when it came into a tangible printed form, it was back in 2001. It was only 16 pages long.
Oh.
And so I said, okay, well, I have a booklet here. But within that year, it turned into 60 pages. And then a short time after, it turned to 80 pages. And as the years went on, just compiling all the information and putting in the story, it came out to 192 pages.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
but all the facts I had literally were snippets of paper, pictures, and even the old-fashioned way of downloading pictures and using the different mediums to do it and so forth.
Okay. Now, where did you find all your information from?
From, I was about to say, from some of the greatest people I've ever known and had the privilege of meeting, my family.
Your own family.
Right. My grandmother had a big book of pictures, and I used to go through this book with her regularly. Who's this? And I think I developed the same talent that her and my other three grandparents have of remembering who's who and how's who connected to who. So I took the pictures and I scanned them and so forth, and these were pictures that were not of the greatest quality. A lot of these were gunpowder photos. You know, the ones where you go into the black sheet and have the gunpowder up in a flash? Yeah. It's like that. So I had to do a lot of doctoring on that, but I was able to get it to its original form, if you see in the book. So then, as this project grew, people from rather relatives globally were sending me pictures. Oh, this is my great-grandfather, who would have to be my grandmother's brother or whomever. And then I had the stories to go along with them. So, and then once I got a hold of a few people who were in records, who are actually cousins of mine, they were able to give me the tangible information of when these people were born, what they did, and whatever little stories about them.
Okay, all right.
Now, Philip, I did read that you did stage voiceovers
Yes.
and so forth, and you have a degree in communication.
Yes.
But your passion is financing.
No, my passion is what you just said. Finance is to keep me in a job.
But from all of that, how did you fall into writing this book?
Well,
Why?
it's funny. All right, I grew up as a child performer into my mid-20s. I did television, radio, commercials, voiceovers for cartoons. That actually, one of them actually won an Emmy called Dr. Henry's Emergency Lessons for People. And this was in 1980, and I remember watching the Daytime Emmy Awards at my grandmother's house with my mother. And so they said, well, my middle name is Timothy, so I always went by Timmy.
Yeah.
And so and a special thanks to Timmy Arnell. Imagine you're a kid and your name is said on the Emmys.
Wow.
And I knew the producers, so we were able to go up there. And at that time, when you're, let me see, 1980, I was 12 years old. Yeah, I was 12 years old. I'm holding this very heavy bookend. I'll never forget that moment. And as the years went on, well, I went through college, I got my degree in communications, and I worked in different mediums. I worked as an assistant in a promotional event, WEA Corporation, Warner Electric Atlanta Corporation. I had my internships. And I was still doing acting here and there. But then as life changes, you get married, you start to have children and look towards your future. I wanted to eat. So that is the...
That's where you got into the finance.
But what I still do, since it is a passion of mine, anything in the arts is a passion. For me, I always felt that this is someplace where I always should have been, but only 1% of it actually makes it. So I just do whatever I can when I can. When I lived in Guadeloupe, on and off for 4 years, I did singing venues. Whenever I come to St. Maarten, I do a little singing here and there as well.
Oh, okay.
And what I like about this project is that I was able to compile all of my talents together in terms of promoting and how to market, because I did my own commercials, which I put on YouTube, as well as Facebook. And it's funny, I have a series of books that are coming out. I have a cooking show called, What You in the Mood For? And it's food, well, actually, simple food that you can make, international food made the Caribbean way.
Okay.
So I've been marketing that as well and doing the commercials. And every week on Sundays, you'll be able to see What You in the Mood For on called What You in the Mood For on Facebook, or just Philip Arnell on YouTube. So that's the best part.
Oh, nice. And since you did look through your family history and your family tree, who did you get all of that from?
The desire to look for all this, or
No,
information?
Your talent. Did you really pinpoint, like, oh, this uncle has this?
I'm glad you asked that question, Dee. Check this. Here's what happened. I have an aunt. Her name was Marjorie Viola Boyce Jordan, my mother's sister. She was an accomplished opera singer. I have an aunt, Petronilla Boyce Hardesty, and she was an accomplished violinist they both used to perform at Carnegie Hall. My mother was a dancer. For the singing part, I guess it's a combination of everybody. Just the love of being out in the forefront. For 8 years, I was a semi-regular on Sesame Street, and I started when I was 2 years old. My mother took us up there, my brother Pierre and my sister Linda, and they sang and they danced and they did whatever they were going to do. When they came to me, they said, "And what can you do?" And I said, "Yuck." Literally. And they hired me right on the spot.
And you're 2 years old.
I'm 2 years old. And I remember being on that show, what I was wearing, what I was doing, seeing Big Bird out of costume. The guy who was in, his name was Carol Spinney, had a TV monitor on his chest, and you see like a headless wired string to a Big Bird body. I remember that so clearly.
Wow. Wow. We are in the midst of a legend. I mean, yesterday I met you was it yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, I met you for the first time, and I was like, there's something about this guy that just gravitates me to him.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love his attitude. I love his persistence, and he has this new book out right now. It's called, what is it called again?
Fortunate Member of a Caribbean Diaspora.
Diaspora, yes. So the book is now available.
The book is available at Van Dorp. It is available at Shipwreck Shop. It's available online at lulu.com. That's LULU.com. Type in Philip Arnell, PhilipArnell, or else put in Fortunate Member of Caribbean Diaspora. As well as if you go over to Anguilla, you can get it at the drugstore owned by Olive Hodge. You can get it at Lyman. You can get it at Irie Life. You can get it at Coral Bookstore or Coral Reef Bookstore. And I'm just going around shopping as much as I possibly can.
Okay. Now, what is some of the feedback that you have got so far?
I'm glad you asked that question. I was really stunned because everybody who's come across this book, they have said, wow, this is an incredible act of love that you've done. And it took you 34 years. How did you have the patience? When you're growing up with something, it's just like breathing. You're going to have to do it anyway.
Right.
And once I'm the type of person, once I have a passion for something, once I start it, I will see it through one way or the other. I've had wonderful support from my parents. They were able to come down for, when I was in the Anguilla Lit Fest this past week, they celebrated 57 years together.
Wow,
thank you. I've had a great foundation from my grandparents when they were with us and my parents. I've got a great wife. I've got 6 fantastic children. And I'm pretty much a busy guy. So.
Okay. And you're going to be even more busier because you're working on the second book.
Right.
Yeah.
This one is going to be called Still Bajan After All These Years, and it's about my mother's family that's from Barbados. And that one is even more targeted. I'll have the same type of facts and information, records checks, but since it's going to be about myself, my mother, and my siblings, what it was like growing up immersed in Barbados culture, in addition to St. Maarten and Anguilla culture, because in the home, we were between 3 homes. We had my house, the next block was my mother's parents, and the next block was my father's parents. We couldn't get away from it even if we tried. Right. So we then had to assimilate into the outside world, with all these different cultures, and then the regular pop culture as well, which I'm pretty big on, while holding onto my ties.
Okay, and you're going to be getting most of that information from...
Oh, actually, I have all the information already.
Everything already?
Everything I have. And I got it just in time because everybody died off. It's true. Everybody died off, so I was lucky enough to get everything that I needed.
Yeah.
Now I'm just writing the literary portion, and I just jot down the notes, and I said, okay, I remember this, I remember this, I remember this. And so many interesting people to talk about. I mentioned Marjorie Boyce before. She was actually the assistant to Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And her husband was actually a guard for President Kennedy, and he was one of the leading topographers for the Desert Storm. So they've done some pretty incredible things in my family.
Wow. Wow. Pretty interesting. Well, Philip, appreciate you coming through the...
Thank you for having
the
me.
Super Duper Morning Show this morning. Great hearing these stories from you.
Thank you.
And definitely want to read through the rest of your book. Started so far. Really excited, really interesting.
You're going to love it.
And there's pictures in there also, and there's a lot of people that I recognize. Like, I know this person, I know that person.
Did you see the guy with the 67 children?
No. What was his name again?
Joseph Emmanuel Richardson. He was a secretary to the mayor's office. He had a lot of titles. He was a lawyer. He was a court reporter. He was a harbor master that saved St. Martin from the spread of smallpox back in the 30s. He was also a person that... Well, it is alleged that he has 67 children. He did have an exorbitant amount naturally, but he also took on other people of what we understand in case they were in dire straits, gave them a name and gave them a direction in life and put them all through school.
Wow.
Nice.
I've gotten back as far as the 1600s where I was able to posthumously meet my 6th great-grandparents.
Wow.
His name was Abraham Howell. He was the first deputy governor of Anguilla, and he was sanctioned by the monarchy to go to a place known as Crab Island with a bunch of citizens of Anguilla and set up a commune. The first one to do this. It changed hands a number of times, and today it is known as Vieques.
Oh, interesting.
Wild, right?
Very interesting.
Amazing.
And through reading the book, I think you and I now might actually be family as well.
We
might
share
be
a cousin. Hey, Satchel, how you doing? This is your cousin Tim Arnell. Hit me up on Facebook, man.
Yeah, we do share a cousin and some... other
Probably a
family
number.
members. Yeah, other family members. But if anyone wants to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
Well, they can go to Philip Arnell. Just put in Philip Arnell on Facebook, and you'll find my show. You'll find me. I love meeting people. And if you want any hints to the recipes that I make or information about the book, I can do that as well, too.
That's right. Philip Arnell in the building, author of, what's the name of the book again? You have the
Wait,
book.
let me say it in my voice.
Go ahead.
Fortunate member of a Caribbean diaspora by Philip Timothy Arnell.
I love that voice. There's
Why, thank you.
He has that voice, right? Splash?
that voice. Splash.
You got a
And I am
splashing over
married,
there.
Thank you.
But there's something about that deep voice in men that just get me. Ooh.
Grrr. You know, it's funny. I've been asked to MC funerals.
MC of funerals.
You know, it's kind of fun. You're not going to get a standing ovation for the obvious reason, because and the competition is stiff. But and then they say, where'd they dig this guy up from? I also have a book coming out with my 11-year-old son. Jace. Is going to be called Get It? Anyone? The worst jokes you'd ever want to hear, but you cannot help but
laugh.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Those corny jokes. I'm one of those guys. I tell a lot of jokes like that. And like, I have this famous joke that I always use as an icebreaker.
Okay, let's hear it.
What do you call a cow with no feet?
What do you call a cow with no feet? What do you call a cow with no feet? Ground beef.
Ah, you got it. I like this guy. We could chill together. We could hang together.
We will, man. We will.
Well, Philip, once again, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Super ND.
And good luck with the book.
Thank you.
It's already been successful, but I know people can find you also at the book fair as well.
Right. They'll find me today and tomorrow.
All right. So Philip
Timothy Arnell.
Yeah, Phil Timothy.
My call name is Timmy, or Hey You, or
Boy.
Exactly. Boy, what you doing? Hey.
And how long are you going to be in St. Martin?
Unfortunately, I got to go home on Sunday, but it's been a great 2.5 weeks.
Well,
But
hopefully we're going to see you when you're back and
You
invite
will.
you back to the studio.
I would love that, because I got the 4-part cookbook. I've got the Barbados book. I have the joke book, and then I have my wife's book, which is about doing crafts and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, nice. And
So we're
where
good. And my
is
wife's name is Paula.
Paula. And where is the book fair?
The book fair today, it's going to be at the St. Martin University. Last night it was at the Mediatek, and they're going to be having something else at the Mediatek as well too. I have to check the schedule.
Okay. All right.
So.
It's Laser 101, the station with the attitude, the Super Duper Morning Show. When we come back, we got some ass facts and Viagra for women. Keep it locked. Laser 101.
And more of it to make your workday better. St. Martin's
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Guys, that was